Okay, hey guys, how you guys doing? Just wanted to refresh a little bit what we talked about on the last video. This second video I'm doing again. It's all this coronavirus stuff, so we have to be doing it here at home. Just making sure that you guys begin to understand little by little what we're going to be learning in the class later on, and the stuff we're going to be doing in the labs. So here I put in a forward and reverse. This is off of chapter 8, page 146. If you guys want to take a look at it, actually, no, wrong page. Page 151 is where it starts off. Here is kind of what I've drawn up there in the board, and you guys can take a look at it. The idea here, I'm going to talk a little bit about what everything is, how it goes, and I'm going to number it again for you guys. Again, I need you guys to start doing that every time we're doing, especially the control part of it. We're going to be numbering that every time. So I'll show you a little bit how to number this, because later on it gets even more complicated. The more you guys begin to learn how to read schematics, you're going to see that it's better. The more you number it, the easier it's going to be for you guys to troubleshoot. Now on the board it's pretty simple, and on the labs it's going to be pretty simple because most things are going to be pretty close together. But in the real world scenarios, some of the stuff could be completely at a whole different building. I mean, they can be pretty far away. So it's important to understand how every wire connects, what it does, and if we maintain order, it makes it a lot simpler to troubleshoot this. So here we go. This is a forward and reverse. If you guys notice, I do have my line 1, line 2, line 3, so it is a three-phase system. Again, it's forward and reverse. So if we take a look, my line 1, we follow it all the way through. Right here, it makes a connection point. So right here, it goes underneath this. So that every time you see these lines right here, it means they are not making contact. So right now, this goes through here and it hits our contactor we talked about last time. So here's the contactor. The contactor goes and makes a contact here. We'll talk about that later. But your line 1 keeps going here and it hits your overload and it goes to your motor. So this is your line 1. Contactor overload to motor starter in this area right here. Line 2, if you notice, we follow it here. We have a splice point right here. It goes underneath this one right here. And you have your contactor. And then also it hits somewhere else right there. I'll talk about that again. So you have your line 2 going to your motor. Line 3, contactor going to your motor. And get it right there now. So each one of these, all three of them go to your motors. Now let's take a look at the reverse part of it. So here we have our line 1. Again, we have our line 1 going into... and we're going to call this, unfortunately, we're going to have to do line 1, line 2, line 3 this way because that's the way they contact. So 1, 2, and 3. So line 1 goes all the way down at the bottom. Same thing as it did before, down at the bottom. So this is still line 1 right here. Then if you notice, it hits your contactor, then it goes around, and then it loops over your line 1 because this is your line 1. It actually loops over your line 1 and loops over your line 2, and it hits your line 3. Line 3, that's where it's hitting right there. Line 2 goes all the way down here, it loops over this one, then it goes back this way, and it makes contact, connects with a contact, and it loops over line 1, and it hits line 2. So that one doesn't really change. Line 2 stays the same. Line 3, again, loops over, and it goes and it hits here. Then if you notice, it goes directly right to line 1. So what happens here is line 1 and line 3 have been switched. Line 1 goes to line 3, and line 3 goes to line 1. Line 2 stays the same. So that's what happens. In reality, in order to change the rotation of any type of motor, all you got to do is really change 2 of the phases. And we'll practice that later on in the lab. But just anytime you need to change the rotation of any type of motor, just change any one of the phases and your motor will start spinning the opposite direction of what it was originally spinning at right there. So this is what we call the power part of the motor diagram. Again, this is pretty simple. You guys will be doing this quite a bit, so you guys will get this down pretty patent. That's actually the easiest part of it right there. So that's why we're not going to number that. We're going to be focusing mostly on this part right here because that's the part we're going to be numbering. Again, if you notice, I did pick up power for the transformer off of line 1 and off of line 2. Our book actually picks up off of line 1 and off of line 3. Doesn't make a difference. I could have picked it off of line 2, line 3. It won't make a difference. They're both, as long as you get 2 of the phases from the circuit, you'll be able to get power to this transformer. So line 1 off line 2, and I did that for that purpose. So you guys understand that it doesn't have to be like, if you notice here, I picked the power comes off of line 1 and line 3 for my transformer. I picked up line 1 and line 2. We could have picked up line 2, line 3, and so on. Any one of those, what it gave the power to the transformer. So anyway, so the power comes in. You have three-phase power here. We have to go down to our low voltage. Our transformer changes from our depending on what voltage this is, to 480, to 240, 208, whatever it's going to be, three-phase system. It's going to bring it down to a single-phase system here. Most likely it's going to be 120, 24 volts. Whatever voltage you're going to be using. Most of your devices are the ones who are going to tell you what's the voltage that you need. So most likely your coils for your contactor is what you're going to be looking at right there. But for now, let's just say 120. So that means in order to get 120, you need to have a black and a white wire, right? Your hot and your neutral in order for that to work. So your line 1 comes into your stop, same thing that we did before. So I'm going to start doing the numbering one more time that we did before so we can practice the numbering. So again, as you guys remember, I did say the very first one is going to be number 1, so that is your number 1 wire. The very last one, all the way at the end, that goes back to your neutral, that is now wire number 2. So there you have your 1 and 2 already done for you. If again, once we pass a device, this stop right here, is a device. So I'm gonna just circle it. That is a device. So that means this line stops right here, and now we have another number right there as soon as we pass the device. So now this is wire number 3. If you notice, this is also making contact right there, and it's going this way. So that means that is also wire number 3, and it keeps going all the way down. That is still wire number 3, and it hits. If you notice, it hits your auxiliary. It hits your reverse start, your forward start, and it also hits your auxiliary, reverse auxiliary. See, so right here it's still wire number 3. All that is wire number 3. So when you're making this up, you have to make sure that your wire number 3 hits the stop on the right, that it hits your forward, your stop on the right, your forward on the left, your auxiliary on the top or on the left or in the front, wherever the position is at. And then for your reverse, it also has to hit your reverse on the left too. So both of these on the left, both of these on the top, or on the left or in the front. Those are the positions that should be. So that is wire number 3 right there. What we got to do is we got to finish first off this line. We have to finish the first line first. We don't jump over to the next one. We have to finish this off first in order for us to continue with our numbering. So we have to first finish off this line. So even though this is all 1 right, this is 3 right here, we jump over to the next one because we do pass a device. This is a device right here, and we also pass a device right here too. So so this right here becomes wire number 4, wire number 4, wire number 4. All that is wire number 4. That's where wire number 4 ends. So that means it's going to hit your forward on the right hand side. It's going to hit your normally closed auxiliary for reverse on the left side, and it's also going to hit your auxiliary forward on the left side right there. Once we pass this device, we have another device that we pass right here. This becomes wire number 5. Okay, so wire number 5 right there. Again, it would hit the normally closed reverse on the left hand side, and also hit the forward coil. This right here, these circles are what we call coils right there. Those are on their contactors. It's the same contactor as this. This we normally call them A1 and A2. So this one would be A1, A2, and we'll get to that quite a bit. I'll actually try to bring you guys a contactor so you guys can actually see that right there. So again, wire number 5, you jump over, because this again is a device, so you jump over the device, and that becomes wire number 6. So once we jump over this device right here, that becomes wire number 6 right there. So wire number 6, if you notice, it does make contact right here, so that means this is also wire number 6. All the way over here is wire number 6. So if you notice, it is hitting your A2 and A2 for both the forward and the reverse. Both of them are making connections to wire number 6. So that should be pretty simple to do that. And again, once we jump over, we will hit our overload on the left-hand side, and then we'll jump over the overload, and it becomes wire number 2. We already had that numbered right there. But you notice we still have some numbers that we still got to fill in right there. How come we didn't make these other numbers? Again, this right here, even though it's down here, but it's on the end of it and it's still touching up there, so we still consider wire number 6. So that means if we did that, and this is already wire number 3, the next number that we have to do, that means this guy right here, this area right here, that becomes wire number 7 right there. So wire number 7, if you notice, it's still making my 7s look kind of weird. So let me see if I can get in the right location. So wire number 7 right there. So again, hits my reverse on the right hand side. Also hits the forward auxiliary, normally closed on the left hand side, and it also hits the auxiliary reverse open on the left hand side right there. So I'm sorry, on the right hand side. So then that is all wire number 7 right there. So then again, we have another device that we got to go through here right here, and then that means that becomes wire number 8. So that is our final number right there. Again, some of these are very simple. Now, just because you see a small wire, and sometimes you see big long wires like that, doesn't mean that's actually how the distance from the location of the device is going to be. Sometimes these are really close, they're right next to each other. You can be just a little jumper. Sometimes they're long runs. So sometimes the ones you think are the smallest are the longest one, and then back and forth. So it doesn't really matter. This is just telling you the location of the next device. Where is the next device going to be connected to? Not the distance. So that's pretty much what this is all about. As long as you follow this diagram, again, the number 1 will never touch a number 3 wire. So once you've done wire number 1, you're done. That's it. No more. You don't have to do wire number 3 again. So it just hits that screw, and that's it. You just jump over the next screw, and you would now continue wire number 3. When I first started doing this, I would have a tendency to just finish off one wire, get it out of the way, and then do my next wire, completely do. So what I would do is actually pretty much cover stuff like this. I would just pretty much cover my whole area right there. That way I just focus on that wire. Once I knew I was done with that wire, I knew I can continue with my next one. Then I would do something like this. I would cover the rest of it and do wire number 4, and so on and so on. Again, we all have different ways of doing things. Again, whatever you think is best for you and it works out for you, that would be a good thing. But again, that worked out for me pretty good. So just again, another recap on the wiring numbers. It is very, very important that you guys practice this. It makes your job a lot easier. It makes my job a lot easier later on when we're going to do the labs. It's going to make it 100% easier. So I do hope and I expect you guys to be practicing this quite a bit. I know you guys still have some of the online course that I had you guys doing. Hopefully when all this craziness is over and all this coronavirus things, we're able to go back to our normal classes. We're going to be hitting the labs quite a bit. So the more you guys know about this, the better it's going to be for both you guys, for you and myself. So it'll make it a lot easier for us to be able to continue with where we're at right now. So I do expect all you guys to at least practice some of this. The idea is that you guys continue learning as much as you can. I know, like I said, most of you guys are kind of upset about having to do this. Again, that has nothing to do with anybody. Unfortunately, this is worldwide right now, this whole thing happening right now. So we're trying to work with whatever we have. So please just bear with us until we get all this done. Later on, like I said, we will have the labs. We'll have every single device up here, and you guys will be able to do this hands-on. It will make it a lot easier for you guys. I'll be bringing in some contactors, so I'll explain a little bit how they work. I'll be bringing in some of this stuff, some push buttons, and showing you how some of this works and how to take them apart and stuff like that. So I'll be working with you guys a little bit more with that right there. So well, anyways, we'll see you guys to the next class, all right? So thank you. All right.